Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm Tiffany, a retired librarian turned homeschool mom. And in this video, we're going to continue with the Women in STEM series. This is probably going to go over into August, but c'est la vie. I want to cover the series. So we're going to do it as a imprint of putting it into women inventors, which a lot of these women were anyway. So we are going to be covering super women in STEM, women scientists in chemistry. This is by Tracey Kelly. So let's look at this book. I don't think we've read this one. Me and Sari. That's my daughter. So it talks about chemistry, kind of gives a brief introduction. So the first woman talks about is Ellen H. Swallow Richards. So she was born in 1842 in Dunstable, Massachusetts. She went to Vassar and then MIT. So that was amazing. So she was working in water quality and standards in home economics. So she was kind of staying in her lane to an extent. And by that I mean this is the late 1800s, early 1900s, when she was not like women were not supposed to be doing this stuff. So she went to she was the first woman to earn a science degree at a U.S. college, and as a professor, she trained many women chemists. So here she is. So she was studying sanitary engineering at MIT, and looking into, if you're not aware of what sanitary means, it means to be clean. We want to be clean. So talking about different things in studying healthy homes and keeping things so you're not spreading disease. So, and now we're moving on to Agnes Pockels, who I've never heard of. She was born in 1862 in Venice, Italy. She was self-taught. She was a chemist and a housekeeper for her parents. Obviously highly religious woman, but she was a chemist nonetheless. She was a pioneer of surface science, so she performed experiments in her kitchen while housekeeping for her parents. So she was most likely looking at a lot of germ theory and figuring out what was causing disease. So that's kind of what she was. Looks like Lord Rayleigh was around, physicist who experimented with light and sound and gases. He won the Nobel Prize. Minor, he's mentioned here. But she wrote to him about her surface experiments, and he was intrigued. So she was, let's see. She wrote a lot of articles before her death in the, her work was interrupted by the death of Frederick, probably a friend, in World War I. And then, so she was doing expired, basically, but again, highly interesting, was self-taught. Again, that's always interesting. She had to give up working later in life because her failing eyesight, so she was going blind. So this was kind of interesting. Again, we haven't read these. Okay, and now we're going to do a double thing. So we're going to be looking at Marie Curie, which hopefully a lot of people have heard of, and I'm going to mispronounce her. Might be her daughter. Irene Joliette Curie, so I'm guessing that's her daughter. So Marie was born, I'm not going to try to pronounce her maiden name because she was born in Warsaw, Poland, and I'm not Polish. And it's a very long, detailed name. Recommend, again, reading the book. She went to the Sorbonne Institute in France, and she was a nuclear chemist. And then the other one was Irene Joliette Curie, was born in Paris, France. She went to the University of Paris, and she was a chemist. So, it talks a little bit about Marie, how she went to college. She was turned down by the University of Poland and Austria because she was a woman. Again, she was born in 1867. So she married, obviously, her husband, who was Pierre. They worked with uranium. That's why she died of cancer, because uranium. And they didn't know what the heck they were doing, because they had no idea. It glowed. It was interesting. There was uranium. X-rays. lots of other things. Yeah, we didn't understand about how dangerous it was. So this is Marie and Pierre Curie. So, and the radiation. They did not understand the radiation at time. It eventually did, in fact, kill her. She was a blood cancer. I do believe both her and her husband's coffins are lined in lead because, again, radiation. So now this is their eldest daughter. So Irene Joliette Curie was their eldest daughter. So she was interested in her parents' work. She helped her mother in the radiology team. She set up units and x-rayed wounded men during World War One. So yeah, and it looks like, yeah, she died in Paris in 56. She was very much involved in she was married to, her husband was, I'm not going to pronounce that. It looks like Frederick, only it has a whole bunch of, it may not be pronounced that way, but here are pictures of her helping her mother. It does not say how she died, though I'm guessing it had something to do with uranium. All right, moving on. Rachel Fuller Brown, she was an American biochemist who developed the first fungus-fighting medicines, working with a colleague by mail. So she was born in 1898 in Springfield, Massachusetts. She went to Mount Holyoke College and the University of Chicago. Mount Holyoke is, again, another one of the Seven Sisters. I don't think Holyoke is still around. I think that's one of the ones that closed. So she was a bacteriologist. So that's kind of what she did. So she was, she majored in history and chemistry, and she got master's degrees, and she worked with Elizabeth Lee Hazen, so in the 1950s. So this is what they were working on. And so they communicated by postal with Hazen. Let's see. And it talks a little bit about Hazen. So that was just, she worked on different bacterial infections or fungal infections, which again we couldn't do without now. So moving on to Dorothy Hodgkin. So Dorothy Crowford Hodgkin, she was born in 1910 in Cairo, Egypt. Always love when we have the multiculturalness on this channel. So she went to the University of Oxford and Cambridge. That's odd. Cambridge and Oxford people don't normally like each other. That's one of the big college rivalries in the United Kingdom is Oxford and Cambridge. She was a crystallographer who discovered the molecular structures of the drug penicillin and vitamin B12, two things that are very, very important. So, and obviously she was Egyptian. She was born in 1910. So again, we have more pictures of her. But vitamin B12, if you're unaware of what that is, that's something that we can literally only get from meat proteins, and we do in fact need it to function. It's one of the vital nutrients that we need. Vegans, I think, have to take that by supplement, or it has to be enriched in the food that they eat. So it's definitely something that is needed. So, and penicillin. We all know what penicillin is. So she worked on penicillin, and she discovered the molecular structures and figured out what it can be used for fighting different diseases. So, yeah, she did a lot of work. Okay, moving on to Rosalind Franklin. Rosalind Lee Franklin, she was born in 1920, so a little bit later in time. These books do have a tendency to go chronologically. She went to Cambridge. She was a physical chemist and a crystallographer, so another crystallographer. So she was working on, so she was the one who discovered the structure of DNA. She was also a pioneer in the field of X-ray. So this was another case of men taking women's work. So she was the one who was sidetracked for discovering DNA. She was the one who did this. So she discovered the helix, not the men. So it was she. Well, let's see. She also worked on X-rays. So, and James Watson and Francis Crick posed with model DNA. They used Rosalind's data to confirm their findings. So she found the information. They had their own information, but they used hers to confirm it. So she actually found it first. So she died in April of '58 at only 37, and they didn't recognize her role until the 1970s. So she was diagnosed with ovarian cancer in the fall of '56. So 18. So she was the one who discovered this again. Okay, so moving on. This is the timeline. So this goes through everything that happened, and then we have a couple more different women that you can, if you find interesting, to look into those. So that is the end of this video. Like and subscribe. Leave a positive comment if you have one. Check out my backlog. I am covering this series. There's 2 more books sitting here. Yes, this is gonna flow over into August, but c'est la vie. These are very interesting, and I think it's important, particularly me as a woman, as the mother of a daughter, someone who loves science, wasn't really able to go into science. I do not have a math brain. I am homeschooling for that reason, because I want a chance to have my daughter be able to really learn stuff. My husband has a math brain. I am dyslexic. My brain does not work that fast. And I have to skim through things to read. So I have a history degree, a library science degree, and I'm and running a Girl Scout troop, doing a lot of things. But nonetheless, like and subscribe, leave a positive comment if you have one. I will be finishing the Boxcar Children. I will be working on the Wings of Fire. I will be eventually getting caught up on the media end of the mysteries and things. So we're getting there. This is being filmed along with, I'm filming all of this entire series in one big chunk while my kid's at camp the day before I'm leaving to go visit family in Idaho. So this is the July 10th. So again, like and subscribe, leave a positive comment if you have one, and thank you.